This is what I'm not understanding. You seem to be very opposed to the idea of surtaxing bonuses from companies which receive TARP money, despite the fact that those are bonuses over and above these base salaries, which they're still going to be pulling down $500,000 a year, right?
Well, I'm not privy to how people were compensated, individually. We might. Let's just, by the way, exclude what happened at Merrill Lynch and AIG. What happened at those two firms is beyond absurd. Merrill Lynch.
This is exactly the point. It's AIG which caused this outrage in the first place.
But this new House bill that passed, overwhelmingly last night is not just AIG. If it were just AIG or Merrill, that would be fine. That's interesting to me. You don't mind clawing back the bonuses from AIG. That you think is fair. That you think is okay. That's kosher. Well, considering we own 80% of them and we've pumped $175 billion into them, and by the way, the people in this financial products unit created these atom bombs, and we need them, I'm sorry to say, probably, to defuse them. So, they should be working for us as a public service to help us solve the problem that they created. At Merrill Lynch, it was beyond absurd that they could lose $27 billion in the last year and pay $3 to $4 billion in bonuses to people. That is just beyond the pale. But let's just step back from that. At the rest of Wall Street, or what used to be called Wall Street, a lot of the bonuses were down 80%, and a lot of them were in scrip and vesting over many, many years. Look at Lazard. Lazard actually was profitable last year, hasn't taken a dime of TARP money, and a lot of the managing directors at Lazard, and I'm not necessarily defending them, but a lot of them didn't get any cash bonus. They got a bonus all in stock. So, you've changed it.
Doesn't your heart just bleed? The poor people got no cash bonus. They had to make do with Lazard stock. Oh.
Well, which vests over 4 years. Okay. So what you're saying is that nobody can have any sympathy for bankers, and I know that's the zeitgeist now. And I don't really want to be in a position of defending bankers, but I think you need to dial down the hysteria a little bit here. Bankers do work hard. They do provide a service to their clients. They got us in a mess of trouble because the incentive system was wrong and flawed. I believe that can be changed, and it wouldn't be too hard to do it. I think what Morgan Stanley has already started to do is probably a good step in that direction. But, we don't have to throw the baby out with the bathwater here, because if we do, we won't have a functioning capital market system as we started this discussion. You do need banks that have balance sheets and that can underwrite debt and equity securities for their clients, because.
And you honestly think that if we crack down too hard on bankers' bonuses, that we might wind up in a situation where you don't have banks which can underwrite new debt and equity issues?
Well,
that could destroy Wall Street to the point where origination and underwriting just ceases to happen altogether.
Well, it's not going to cease to happen because there'll always be some people. It's not like, you push a button and it happens, Felix. It's not like, okay, I walk into the door of J.P. Morgan Chase and go up to the front desk and push the debt underwriting button and I get my money. Well, there are a lot of people who have to work pretty hard to make that happen. And I'm not saying that they're all going to leave if they're not paid, $2 million a year, and they may very well be content with $200,000 a year or $100,000 a year, whatever it is. They may very well. We'll find out. But if you destroy all the incentives that people have to do their jobs, in any job, every organization by and large has some sort of salary and bonus structure, and if you take away incentives for people, then they'll go do something else. And maybe that's a good thing, by the way. It might be a very good thing for people to go do something else. I'd be happy if more of the smart people in this country became engineers and scientists and teachers and doctors and writers. But you have to make changes that make sense. Not that just willy-nilly destroy a whole livelihood for a bunch of people. Okay. So all right. I think I've got you there. That on the one hand, it would be great if we had smart people going to other sectors of the economy, and on the other hand, there is a risk here of destroying an entire sector of the economy. That sector of the economy which you consider to be so vital, being I guess basically the primary underwriting and origination function of the investment debt.
And the secondary trading, as we talked about, the secondary trade, the making a market post the primary. Yeah,
can't you just rely on people using their own money to do that? That's the wonder of markets. Everyone comes in and bets their own money instead.
And not have any market making. I think that it's a system that relies on buyers and sellers. And if you take out the ability of buyers and sellers to find each other, I think you've destroyed the system. And maybe the internet can provide a way and has.
But, that's exactly what we've got, isn't it? You've got Archipelago, you've got all of these electronic matching systems, you've got the dark pools. There's no shortage of very sophisticated computerized systems which do just that.
Well, then maybe the next wave here will be the rise in the importance of things like that, and the lessening of the importance of the middlemen and the market makers. But I think that you just have to make sure that you don't have an unintended consequence here, and that's all I'm saying. And I suppose.
But how is that even possible? But seriously, you're a politician, you're a policymaker. We're putting through $700, $800 billion TARP bills. We're bailing out AIG. We're trying to bail out the automakers. We're trying to keep a hell of a lot of balls in the air at the same time. And you're saying, you know what, we have to make sure there aren't any unintended consequences. Of course there are going to be unintended consequences. You just have to do what's right and hope. Obviously, at the margin, you try and minimize the unintended consequences, but the fact is that unintended consequences, by their very nature, are unintended, and you can't foresee them. You don't know what they're going to be.
Well, of course, but that doesn't mean you have to be stupid about the legislation that you propose. Don't forget, Paulson's first version of the TARP bill was 3 pages, and I get all the power. Okay, and then a couple of weeks later, we have a 500-page bill. So you can. Create the legislation that's needed. You can create the regulations that's needed. That doesn't mean it just has to be as a result of a populist uprising and a firestorm related to, the stupid decision to pay these people at AIG bonuses and then ask them to stay and then they leave. You paid them the bonuses and then they leave and they don't even do what you asked them to do. As Jay Leno said last night, let's get them to do the work first, and then they can get the bonus.
Yeah. Retention bonuses are normally paid after you stayed for the amount of time that you were meant to stay.
You would think.
The idea that you pay someone a retention bonus, and then you're like, you know what? Actually, we don't need you after all, but you can keep your bonus.